Why is academic integrity important? Academic integrity is fundamental to research. When we look at information and sources, people expect us, as academic experts in the field, to ask questions and draw informed conclusions that they can then rely on. We need to weigh up the evidence and consider different viewpoints. One of the biggest questions is about the relevance and reliability of the source. To what extent do we trust the findings and the source? So, we need to be able to look at academic papers and know that the research has been carried out to high standards and that we can trust what has been written. You have been given this journal article as a good place to start your reading for your essay for BS 1040. The link is available on Blackboard. Let's consider not the scientific content, but how it presents evidence. Look at this text. What do you notice about statements and citations? Each statement is supported by a citation, shown here by a superscript number. This is an example of a type of Vancouver referencing style. At the end of the article is a reference list, with details of the author and publication, so it can be found by an interested reader. These citations within an academic piece of writing show that the author has built their argument upon a published source. This article, from the Journal of Experimental Biology, uses a type of Harvard referencing system that gives the author and date in the citation instead of numbers, as the Vancouver referencing system did. It also has a reference list, but it is arranged alphabetically, not in order of appearance. Academics must follow exactly the reference style for the journal they submit their research papers to. As part of your studies, you will also learn to cite information in the correct format, right down to which text should be bold and which should be in italics. The referencing format required by the School of Biological Sciences is the Harvard reference system. Guidance on how to apply this can be found in the How to Reference tutorial set up by the library, which is accessible either via the library website or through BS 1000 Essay Toolkit on Blackboard. If we look at a reference list such as this, we can see the types of publication that were used to build this paper. We can use this to help evaluate how reliable the source is. The gold standard is peer-reviewed publications, such as journal articles, as these have been reviewed by experts in the subject. Errors, mistakes, biased experiments, and weak conclusions are likely to have been challenged and filtered out. However, it is still possible that mistakes can slip through, a single viewpoint may have been given, or that the conclusions were flawed. So we should still look critically at whatever conclusions have been published. Other sources might include academic textbooks, government publications, newspaper articles, and web pages. They vary in terms of how reliable they are. So it's up to you to consider the strengths and weaknesses of a publication and decide how reliable you think it is. Academic books, whilst written by experts in the subject area, might present only one point of view, and they may not have been peer-reviewed. Government publications may be biased by underlying political motivations, however they may still contain useful facts and figures. Newspaper articles may be simplified and politically biased, but they may be useful in indicating the views of the general population at that point in time. Web pages can vary from those written by experts in the subject area to those with very specific agendas, to those set up as part of a class project in secondary school. So the content and source of a website must be evaluated very carefully. The example of a website shown here at first glance appears very scientific. It's the Institute of Research. However, it's a creationist website, and so is likely to put forward a single, biased viewpoint. Why is referencing so important? In academic writing, we use citations and references for several reasons. To provide evidence for statements that you make, so the reader, if interested, can find out more. This also helps you to keep within a word limit, as you can refer the reader on for further information. Lastly and importantly, it acknowledges the author of the original work. Not acknowledging another's work would be plagiarism. Is including a citation enough? Here we have the original source, and here we have a piece of academic writing. Note, it has quotation marks and a citation, so it acknowledges the author's work. However, it doesn't make good use of the source or demonstrate understanding. So how can you make good use of a source in academic writing? You must build upon the evidence you present. Simply repeating it word for word, even if you include a citation, would be poor academic practice. To make it useful to your research and to develop your critical approach, you need to rephrase it. You should relate it to your research question, commenting on how it can be understood in the context of your essay. You may want to discuss its relevance and reliability, and to consider to what extent the evidence can help answer your research question. Perhaps it is valid and reliable, but may have limitations in its relevance. Rephrasing, commenting on, and referencing another's work makes it more relevant to your essay or research question. It demonstrates your understanding. It avoids plagiarism and possible penalties, and develops your critical academic approach. Academic integrity is therefore central to research and study at university. You must now begin to build your reputation as a trustworthy and thorough researcher. Thank you for completing this tutorial. In the following tutorial, we will consider some common but perhaps less obvious examples of plagiarism.